Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1635B, and today's date is August 10th, 2018, and the title of the episode is, The Previews Are Over, It's Showtime, The World is Watching. Let's get into the economic collapse, political, and geopolitical news. Now, Q has been telling us that we have been watching a show, and we've been watching everything play out, and there are certain things that had to be done beforehand, before the hammer was dropped. And we're starting to see a lot of things take shape right now. For instance, Jeff Sessions, the Department of Justice, he says, will not partner with groups that unfairly defame Americans, like the SPLC. Now, this is the Southern Poverty Law Center. And basically, he's saying that the Southern Poverty Law Center is weaponizing hate groups. And there are many other groups that are out there, and it looks like he's going to be going down a list and saying, okay, let's take a look at these groups and let's determine if they are a positive force in the American people's life, or are they pushing a different agenda. And basically, Jeff Sessions says, I have ordered a review at the Department of Justice to make sure that we do not partner with any groups that discriminate. The Attorney General declared, we will not partner with groups that unfairly defame Americans for standing up for the Constitution or their faith. Now, it looks like a lot of people around the world, they're starting to catch on to fake news. And we're starting to see protesters. We're starting to see people set up Twitter accounts and other social media accounts to fight back against the fake media. Now, out in Britain, we see there's a viral campaign calling out the BBC for alleged media bias, and it whipped up a huge Twitter storm as citizens recounted examples of the state broadcaster's prejudice under the hashtag BBC Switch Off. The campaign, organized to highlight the publicly funded broadcaster's perceived bias against Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn, began at 6 p.m. to coincide with TV stations' news programs. And basically, they're saying everyone should be switching off, and that's millions and millions of people. And they're citing different examples, and they're saying, coverage of the Yemen civil war, coverage of the Israeli occupation of Palestine, and they're naming all these different things that the BBC was kind of biased when they were reporting. Well, basically what they were doing is they were reporting fake news, just like we see here in the U.S. and many other places around the world. And people are starting to wake up to this whole thing, and they're starting to realize that, hey, yeah, we're being lied to. Actually, out in France and Germany, well, Macron and Merkel, they're in trouble. Their approval ratings, they're hitting record lows right now because populism is spreading across the European Union. And there was a YouGov poll which was released, and Macron's approval rating dropped by 5 points to 27% against a 62% disapproval rate. And we see at this point, Merkel is also experiencing less than stellar performance reviews after public support for her coalition government fell to 29%. What's happening here is people are starting to realize what has been going on, and a lot of people are starting to wake up and speak out. And they were trying to have these open borders and allow all these individuals come into their country. And it looks like citizens are waking up to the threat of open borders and illegal immigration. And they want closed borders, and they don't want what these leaders are pushing. So the opposite is happening right now, and there's a major change happening around the world. And I think this is why the central bankers, this is why the deep state, this is why they're all very, very worried in what is happening here. And we see Nikki Haley here in the United States. She was traveling to the border of Venezuela. She announced a $9 million aid package for refugees crossing over into Colombia. She posed for a photo with one of the children, making it look good. And then she said, we need to get rid of Maduro. Now, of course, is this $9 million, is this a payoff to the individual or individuals or whoever was involved in trying to take out Maduro? Because we know that Nikki Haley, she is a neocon. We know that she is pushing for regime change in Venezuela. And she's out there saying that It's terrible the way that people have to leave Venezuela and come into Colombia. This has to be stopped. It's all Maduro's fault. Well, actually, the sanctions, and this is before Trump, have been placed on Venezuela to cause this situation. This is the deep state that has been doing this around the world. I mean, when they say, oh, these poor people in Syria, these poor people in Iraq, look what's happening there. Well, the deep state caused all this. They caused it with their wars, destroying the infrastructure. These people had to leave. When you put the paid mercenary forces into their countries and you start torturing them, they're not going to stay. If you destroy the economy of Venezuela by pushing sanctions, because Venezuela doesn't want to do what you want it to do, guess what's going to happen? Their economy is going to fall apart. The people are going to suffer. When Saudi Arabia goes into Yemen and bombs the infrastructure and actually bombs the people of Yemen, you're going to have a terrible situation there. This all leads back to who? The deep state. This is what they've been doing for a very long time. No, it didn't start right now. This has been ongoing for a very long time, and now things are changing. And you just can't snap your fingers and stop everything that's in motion right now. Because remember, the deep state doesn't play by the rules. The deep state, as they're doing this in each one of these countries, they're using covert monies to filter into these countries to pay for these paid mercenaries or to pay for their agenda. And to stop all this is not an easy task because they had many, many years to set up all of this, and you have to figure out where all this is going in order to stop it. We see Israel and Hamas, they have agreed to a ceasefire, and it looks like that both sides are going to stop firing rockets at each other. Now, of course, Israel is out there saying that this is a fake report, that there is no ceasefire, but we see coming out of the Haaretz, that it is saying that there is a ceasefire at the Gaza Strip. We see that Syria and Russian forces, they are now bombing the towns and villages of Idlib. And remember, leaflets were being dropped there, and it looks like they are now pushing the agenda. They're going after the last area where the paid mercenaries are, and it won't take long before they're all completely wiped out or surrendering. And we can see that the time now is ticking down for the deep state in all of these different areas. And eventually what's going to happen, there will be absolutely no reason for the coalition forces to be in Syria, and you're going to see an announcement come very, very soon. We see in the Golan Heights, near the border, the Russian military, they created 8 outposts. And again, this is where Israel and Syria meet, and it looks like Russia's going to be setting up some more outposts there, but there will be no Russian police in these areas. This will be the Syrians who are manning these areas. And this is to provide security and guarantees for the civilians living there. So we see already that the plan is moving forward. The Syrian forces are allowed in the Golan Heights. They're going to abide by the 1974 agreement. Russia is setting up the outposts to guarantee civilians their safety and make sure that everything is fine there. And we see that everything is going to be winding down in this entire area. And the clock is ticking down. And we can see that it's almost game over for the deep state in the Middle East. And we're going to see, once this happens to Syria, all of a sudden you're going to see troops come out of many of the other countries and things wind down there because the deep state has nothing left. They're pretty much done. The Islamic State and all the other paid mercenary forces, they're being brought to their knees, and pretty soon it is completely game over. Q has dropped many other posts, and we're going to start off at post 1825, even though we went over this one before. This is about the bill 5181. Now, this bill wasn't passed as an individual bill. It was stuffed into the 2016 NDAA. And that's where this is coming from. It was stuffed into there. And this allowed the $160 million to be set aside to pay for the news medias, the mainstream media, to counter the alternative media. Let me just read this section. This is section 4. identifying current and emerging trends in foreign propaganda and disinformation, including the use of print, broadcast, online, and social media, support for third-party outlets such as think tanks, political parties, and non-governmental organizations, and the use of covert or clandestine special operators and agents to influence targeted populations and governments in order to coordinate and shape the development of tactics, techniques, and procedures to expose and refute foreign misinformation and disinformation and proactively promote fact-based narratives and policies to audiences outside the United States. Now, they're using this because they're saying they're getting hit by Russian bots. And of course, it's not Russian bots. All this is happening here in the United States by the alternative media and other people that are looking for truth. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to combat the truth movement, and they're using the funds from this bill 5181, which was stuffed into the 2016 NDAA. And this is what is happening right now. And remember, they call it the Center for Information Analysis. And it's basically millions of dollars to fight fake news. But again, it turns out that the corporate media, the mainstream media, they are pushing fake news. So they're using the U.S. taxpayer money to fight against truth, if you want to think of it that way. Q dropped post 1826, past 24 hours. Here's a sample. These are all in brackets, bolded. And Q gave a huge amount of links of news articles attacking Nunes. And under that says, coordinated effort to silence, remove, notice a pattern, echo chamber conspiracy, these people are sick. Gave a link to Merriam-Webster.com dictionary, eradicate, U.S. Air Force B-52, brackets in bold, precision bombs, Q. Now, basically, the Mockingbird media, the mainstream media, the corporate media, they are pushing an all-out assault on Nunes right now. And there's only one reason they're doing this, because the truth is about to drop. Now, when Q said U.S. Air Force B-52 precision bombs, I don't believe that Q was saying that we're going to be bombing some area. Q might be referring to the Boeing 757 in Little Rock, where they were collecting and loading boxes at the Hillbilly Airport. And I think that's exactly what what Q is talking about. And we discussed this yesterday about how the FBI is there, the Boeing 757 is there. Jeff Sessions visited Little Rock, and we can see that something is happening in that area. And I think what Q is saying here, something big is about to drop. And it looks like it could be the 20 FISA warrant pages, which Q continually lets us know about, declassifying all of that, maybe some other things that are going to be coming out. And Q kind of confirms all of this with post 1827, puts up a link, and the link is anonymous, August 9th. It's a preview to Deadpool. And under it, it says, enjoying every second of it. So Q then answers, comfy, ? Previews are over. Showtime, ! Q. Now, Q is saying everything that we've been looking at, everything that we've been seeing, that was the preview. Here comes the show, which means everything's about to drop. Now, if we go back to post 1788, August 1st, Q, Anonymous puts up, finally someone asked about Q. Q responded, who is the one person who can answer? POTUS, less than 10, brackets, Q. Now, this was dropped on August 1st. Today is the 10th. So that's day 9 out of 10. Does this mean that everything's going to be dropped tomorrow or very soon? Because less than 10, something's going to be dropped. So we'll have to watch to see if this is actually going to happen either later today or tomorrow, if that's what this really means. If we move on to post 1828, we see Q, spy op in brackets, and it Q put all these different letters and brackets and bold and things like that. It's basically a flow chart of what is happening here, and we'll go over that in a sec. Under it, it says tarmac, final meeting, no charges drop, equals Supreme Court. Go-betweens, meeting 1 to 4. Hussein 3, national security orders, official. POTUS can declassify. Bottom to top, see now, FBI, Department of Justice to expand fast. FISA apps, false, active domestic spy campaign. UK assist, fee to CIA, cannot operate domestically. They never thought she would lose. Q. So it looks like Q created a flow chart, and someone took it and expanded the flow chart, and I'll read some of it to you here, and basically took all the different abbreviations and added the names to it. But I'm not going to go and read all the different names. You can do that if you want. You can come to the X22 report site. Just click on the title of the report, and it'll bring you to this section, and you can read all the names and things like that, and you can read the flow chart. I'm going to go to the flow chart right here of the different things that are going to happen here. The spying operation on Citizen Trump during the 2016 campaign and subsequent cover-up. Because no one in the Democratic Party or deep state thought Hillary Clinton would lose the 2016 election, this led them to make a series of mistakes and miscalculations that led them losing control and exposing their criminal activities. FISA warrants were used to spy on Citizen Trump during the 2016 election. The UK, as part of the Five Eyes, fed information to the CIA under John Brennan, which is not allowed to operate domestically. Obama made one such miscalculation by issuing 3 classified national security orders in order to spy on Citizen Trump. He didn't care that it would lead directly back to him. He figured Hillary would win and he had nothing to worry about. He would get away with it. No big deal. But with Trump, now POTUS, he can declassify these orders and show Obama's illegal actions and bias against him. 4 meetings took place to make sure everyone was on board with the spying Russian collusion efforts. One such meeting was the tarmac meeting between Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch. If Loretta Lynch was successful in getting the charges dropped, Hillary's illegal private email server, Hillary would reward her with Ruth Bader Ginsburg's seat on the Supreme Court. Hillary Clinton, John Podesta, Robbie Mook, the DNC, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and James Comey colluded with the UK's Prime Minister Theresa May, MI6, the Secret Intelligence Service, to illegally issue a FISA warrant and spy on Citizen Trump for the Democratic Party during the 2016 election. Their contact man was Christopher Steele. The Washington Free Beacon was used by the Dems as a shell corporation in order to fund Fusion GPS. They hired Perkins Coie to pay Fusion GPS. Perkins Coie paid Fusion GPS $972,000 to craft the Steele dossier that set up the Russian collusion narrative. It was then passed to John McCain, who leaked it to the media outlets like BuzzFeed. At the same time, John Brennan and James Comey were leaking presidential daily briefs and classified info as well. It was systematic and purposeful. This was to sabotage President Trump. The FBI, under Director James Comey, Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, Chief of Staff James Rubicki, Head of the FBI's Counterterrorist Division Michael Steinbeck, FBI Assistant Director of Counterintelligence Bill Priestab, FBI Agent Peter Strzok, FBI Lawyer Lisa Page, FBI Chief Legal Counsel James Baker, FBI Assistant Director Michael Corton, Deputy Chief of Staff and Counsel to the Director of John Carlin, FBI Lawyer Sally Moyer, FBI Lawyer Tashina Guar, FBI Attorney Kevin Kleinsmith, colluded with Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Huma Abedin, Cheryl Mills to craft the Trump dossier, perpetrated the Russian collusion lie, and attempted to cover up illegal FISA spying committed by the Obama administration. Don't forget, they also dropped the charges against Hillary, her server too. The Department of Justice, under AG Attorney General Lynch, played their part, keeping up their end of the deal made during the tarmac meeting. This meeting brought Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates, Bruce Orr, working with MI6 agent Christopher Steele, David Loffman, Luke Debosky, John Carlin, acting assistant attorney Mary McCord, Senator Richard Blumenthal into the mix, each helping to further set up the Russian collusion narrative in their own way. The Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, towed the party line and lied to Congress when he said that there was no evidence of the Obama administration wiretapping Trump Tower. The CIA, under CIA Director John Brennan, directed 5 classified individuals to do the actual dirty work of framing Trump during his campaign, most likely Page, Gates, Manafort, Halper, and Papadopoulos, as a result of the tarmac meeting between Lynch and Clinton. This was all being recorded on the tarmac tapes, which are in the possession of the NSA. This all leads back to Obama's White House, Obama himself, handler Valerie Jarrett, Chief of Staff Dennis McDonough, VP Joe Biden, former Chief of Staff and current Mayor of Chicago Rahm Emanuel, Secretary of State John Kerry, United States Ambassador to the UN Samantha Power, Administration of the U.S. Small Business Administration Karen Mills. These people colluded with Hillary Clinton and the DNC to spy against Citizen Trump during the 2016 election and subsequently covered up with the false Russian collusion narrative. So Q right there pretty much laid out everything. So we'll move on to post 1829 August 9th. Took everything that we just did and added something below it. Q says, what assets, people were placed spy in POTUS campaign? Why did the news cycle drop this investigation? Think several. What if those placed are being investigated by BM? Plants need water. What if others placed connect to future? What if Nellie Orr previous worked on the farm? The start, public justification to proceed clean. So Page, Gates, Papadopoulos, Halper, Manafort. The fake news won't cover it, though, because if he, Citizen Trump, had multiple deep state spies actively sabotaging his campaign, it lends credence to the idea that Russian collusion isn't real and he was being framed. And we can't have the public thinking that. This is why they're not covering it. And by the way, BM, I think, is Bob Mueller. Q also drops that Nellie Orr is actually CIA. She worked on the farm, CIA, which explains her proficiency with ham radio. Then Q dropped post 1830, August 9th. Clinton Foundation, all capital, left a phone number 888-373-7888. This is not the number to Clinton Foundation. This number is to the National Human Trafficking Hotline. And I think he was taking a jab at Chelsea Clinton, who tweeted, of course there's a Pizzagate 2.0. Of course there is. If you've been a victim of trafficking or have suspicions of actual trafficking, please reach out to the National Human Trafficking Hotline, and she gave the same exact number. And it looks like Q is saying that these people set up these covers to hide their crimes. Now we're going to move on to post 1831. August 10th. Does POTUS make statements that are false? Knowing what you know. Q says start at 12 minutes. Think Haiti, 14 minutes, 40 seconds. And Q gives a link, and Trump was giving a speech at Al Smith's charity dinner, and he kind of roasted Hillary Clinton during this, and this was before he was president. So take a listen.
The issue of going to confession, or as Hillary calls it, the 4th of July weekend with FBI Director Comey. Now, I'm told Hillary went to confession before tonight's event. But the priest was having a hard time when he asked her about her sins, and she said she couldn't remember 39 times. Nah. Hillary is so corrupt. She got kicked off the Watergate Commission. How corrupt do you have to be to get kicked off the Watergate Commission. Pretty corrupt. Hillary is and has been in politics since the 70s. What's her pitch? The economy is busted. The government's corrupt. Washington is failing. Vote for me. I've been working on these problems for 30 years. I can fix it, she says. I wasn't really sure if Hillary was going to be here tonight because I guess you didn't send her invitation by email. Or maybe you did and she just found out about it through the wonder of WikiLeaks. We've learned so much from WikiLeaks. For example, Hillary believes that it's vital to deceive the people by having one public policy and a totally different policy in private. That's okay. I don't know who they're angry at, Hillary, you're right. Everyone knows, of course, Hillary's belief that it takes a village, which only makes sense, after all, in places like Haiti, where she's taken a number of them. Thank you. I don't know.
So let me continue on with post 1831. Think Watergate Commission. Brackets removed. Why investigate? Listen very carefully. Truth. Surrounded by evil. Never stop praying. Where we go one, we go all. Post 1832. Anonymous. Hillary Rodham Clinton has taken a number of villages from Haiti. And within this post, there's a previous post from March 6th. So much is open source. So much left to be connected. Why are the children in Haiti in high demand? How are they smuggled out? Adoption process? Local staging ports friendly to CF? Track donations. That's Clinton Foundation, by the way. Cross against location relative to Haiti. Think logically. The choice to know will be yours. And under that, there's another post, March 6th. Who are we taught to trust the most? This will not be easy. The end. Q. And then under this, Q put Riri drops from Haiti. At some point, it will not be safe for them to walk down the street. Pure evil. How many in Washington and those around the world worship the devil? Conspiracy. Fake news. The world is watching. Q. Post 1833. Q put up a graphic here. This is just a small list of things requiring ID but not considered racist. And the list says purchase alcohol, driver's license, bank account, food stamps, welfare, Medicaid, Social Security, mortgage, unemployment, fishing license, house, hotel room, buy a car, rent a car, drive a car, get married, purchase a gun, purchase ammo, adopt a pet, get a prescription. Showing ID to vote is considered racist. How stupid is that? And under this, Q wrote, this all revolves around removing Nunes. California, New York, notorious voter fraud. Controlled and coordinated by corrupt, plus the so-called volunteers, state officials. Logical thinking. Why are Ds opposed to implementing voting ID laws? Because that would ruin their entire agenda of voter fraud. That's why they're completely against it. Post 1834. They never thought she would lose. Now they all lose. Q plus, and many people think that Q plus is the president. 1835. New trip confirmed. PF safe Q. Now what happened here, as we can see in post 1836, the board was hacked. And it says, Patriots under post 1836, we are under extreme heavy attack by 3 intel agencies, foreign and domestic. We are in calm coordination with necessary divisions. Stay strong, stay together. And basically what happened here, the boards were being hacked, and they told us to look at this pastebin where the document was, showing that Q is a fake, phony, and false individual or group of individuals, and they showed how easy it is to hack into the boards because they're using an old-style encryption method, and it was very easy to hack in. Now, if this truly is the case, these individuals would be able to hack in multiple times. They should be able to hack in every single time and mess the boards up if it's that easy. Even though they changed the trip code and things like that, they're telling us it's a very easy thing to do. So if we see the boards hacked in multiple times, well, they might be onto something. Or if they don't hack into the boards after this, maybe something else is going on. And from post 1839 from Q, it looks like this might have been a setup for these individuals to hack into the board. Because Q wrote, "Fishing is fun," brackets around fish. "These people are stupid," Q. Fish in brackets is the kill box. Sounds like they caught something. It looks like they tracked something down and they needed this to happen so they can do this. And we'll find out more when Q posts more. So we can see the show is about to begin. The hammer has fallen, and we're going to see fireworks probably in the next week or two. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.